everybody has their tiers of players in whatever league it is, the NBA, the MLB, the NFL, or the NHL. But I just wanted to figure out, what are our tiers here in Detroit? What players belong in the superstar tier? What players belong in the all-star tier? Okay. What players belong in the, you can figure out whatever B is for yourself, and obviously C is the lowest tier. Now, these were done by the guys in the back. So shout out Ryan Lynch, shout out my man Noah. This is what they listed as the tiers here in Detroit, and we'll ask other players to see what you think about those tiers, Anson, to see where you think these players belong. But before we ask about new players, how do you like these tiers? Starting with, why not? Let's start with the S, the superstars. Dylan Larkin, Tarek Skubal, I believe, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Penei Sewell. Are these Detroit professional superstars, or does somebody belong out of place, or does somebody else belong in there? Anson, I start with you.
You know, to me, it's a little more than just on the field stuff.
Okay.
When you look at a guy like Aiden Hutchinson, he's a big deal. Like in the memorabilia sports card business, he's a guy that people absolutely love. People want to collect him over Penei Sewell. Now, Penei Sewell's had an all-pro effect and visit to the NFL in his short stay so far. Aiden isn't quite gotten there. We're ready for him to start punching those 12, 15-plus sack seasons. I think that Aiden Hutchinson should be on the top. As we referenced Penei at the start of the show, I think he absolutely belongs up there too. And Amon-Ra at this point. Now, you know, I'm not going to get too far into ice soccer. I think Skubal is one tier down. He's ready to ascend. Okay. But there's a lot of people to start this season that didn't really know who he was. You know, the Tigers weren't a hot team to talk about, and he kind of came underneath the radar. He's more of kind of a dark horse to be in that Cy Young race this season. Now he's firmly in the middle of it. I see him as an A-list athlete here in Detroit, ready to make that jump.
So you like Penei, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Aiden for an S.
Yep, absolutely.
All right,
absolutely. Cade had a chance, but he's been a little too injured. Being a number one pick, and you know his game is liked around the NBA. I think he's in a safe, correct spot. And Jared Goff, you'd have never thought would be an A-list athlete. I love it there.
We'll get to A. We'll just start with S. Dave Logan, your turn. Do you like what we have so far for the superstar category just here in Detroit? And what I mean by that is at their sport, they're a superstar, or they're right there already. Not necessarily what they do in the community, not necessarily what they do off the field, or how their jerseys sell, but just in their sport, just in what they see, are they one of those guys? Look at that top line. Dave Logan, tell me what you think.
I tend to agree with, I think Penei Sewell, Aiden Hutchinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown. And the reason is I do associate it with winning a little bit. It's very difficult for me right now.
I think there's two players in Detroit sports that are superstars, and both of them got paid.
Yep.
Like, there are two superstar players right now. Amon-Ra St. Brown, second team All-Pro. You look at his numbers, they're equivalent to anybody in the first 3 seasons in NFL history. That's just a fact. Penei Sewell, in 3 years, look at what he's done. Look at what he's done for himself. He's the number one paid tackle. Let me rephrase that. He's the highest paid football offensive lineman of all time.
That's right.
Yeah. Of all time. And that's only after year 3. Those are your stars. Like, those are who I'm going to put in this category. I think Tarek Skubal is one down, and we'll get to that row next. Dylan Larkin, shout out to Michigan. He's a Go Blue guy. I love Dylan Larkin. Dylan Larkin's not a superstar. Dylan Larkin's not a superstar. He's a great leader. He's a great team. He's not a superstar. Amon-Ra St. Brown, as you would like to point out, on and off, superstar. Penei Sewell, whenever you see him, you get excited. Yeah. You light up a little bit. Am I lying, Dave?
No, not lying at all.
He's a superstar. I think those are your two. Aiden is a guy, he's not an A or S. You see that black line in the middle? Aiden's right there. Yeah. He showed you his rookie year. He can be explosive. He can be unique and dynamic with the interception record. He showed you year 2. Look, you give me a little bit of help. Yeah. When James Houston came on, even the 2 or 3 games that Josh Pascal had, here's Aiden with 2 sacks. Yeah. Here's Aiden get to the quarterback. So I think he's in that middle line, but I can't put him in superstar level. What say you gentlemen about that?
This is his year of ascension.
Yeah.
As Dave mentioned, he has all of the support in the secondary and along that defensive line to give him that extra half second, 1 second that we saw him just miss huge plays on for the last few seasons. Yeah. He has all that help, And he already has a national notoriety and people like the guy. Yeah. So, and he's a good looking guy, man. I'm not sure what school he went to. It's probably something bad, but he, that guy's ready. That guy's the next superstar. You know, Jared Goff's part of the big three, but we truly have a big four here in Detroit.
In the words of Charles Woodson, you know the school.
See, I was a fan of you guys back then.
True.
I was at that game, the immaculate interception when that dude jumped off the table.
I was there too.
I think this year we have the right to expect greatness from Aiden Hutchinson. The things are in place now where now we expect greatness. Like now it's like, okay, we all see it. Now the other pieces are put in place. Now go show us how much of a beast you really are.
Yes, sir.
Like, let's go. And shout out to Ken Brown, my frat brother, Ken Brown.
Ken.
I appreciate that, KB. Good to see you the other day, man. And I hope y'all have a wonderful day.
Don't get too good because you might take my job. Also, shout out to the chat. Hey, you guys, you see the tiers. And if you don't see it, we'll tell you what the tiers are and let you pick yours. Throw some guys in there. Dave, it was meant for you to be here today. When I was in the gym earlier, don't you know I've never seen this guy in the gym before? He was an older guy, and guess what? Fraternity's t-shirt. He was working out in.
All day long. A5A all day,
That is what he was. Day. Also, shout out to my girl, Brittany Coleman, in the building. Let's get to the second tier. It is the all-star tier. Right now you have, and I quote, Kay Cunningham, Jared Goff. You have Aiden Hutchinson. I think that is Lucas Raymond.
And I was going to ask you, how do you know, how do you differentiate these dudes in red? Well, I mean, one has a beard.
Yeah. Well, Patrick Kane is, I think, B.
You think?
Mord Sider is. Yeah, it is.
Ice hockey, guys. It's ice
soccer.
Man,
don't try to call me out, but I am right. You got Aiden, Lucas, Cade, and Jared Goff. And we can move people to the A list. Right now, with just this row, you talked about Aiden, so we can exclude him or leave him there. Cade Cunningham, let's start there with you. You're the Pistons, you're wearing the Pistons shirt. Cade is a legitimate A for you?
Yeah, he's a legitimate A. He's a number one draft pick. That's always going to put you high profile. His game matches. I mean, if you break down his statistics from this year in the games that he did play, he's better than 2-3 All-Stars that made the Eastern Conference team. He can't stay healthy, and that's been the big knock. He hasn't even been able to stay healthy this season. And the team's been pretty trash for the large part.
Pretty trash.
Pretty complete trash. It's a dumpster fire.
There you go.
That is a guy, though, whose game can take him to that superstar level, no problem. If he stays healthy and plays a good 75 to 82 games in a season, and the Pistons taste just a bit of success, he's in a spot to ascend to that superstar level for sure.
Jared Goff also on this list. I come to you with this one, Dave Logan. Is Jared Goff an A, or should Jared Goff be in the middle, kind of that tweener like Aiden Hutchinson, I believe?
No, I give Jared Goff the A. I think in the 3 years we've now seen his maturation as well. And I give him credit for already previously taking a team to the Super Bowl, being the scapegoat, kicking them out of town. They won the Super Bowl in spite of them. And now his turnaround, his help in the turnaround of Detroit, I think he's earned it. I mean, he's been a Pro Bowler now. You know, I think that, and that's what we're calling that All-Star. If you're in the All-Star, you're in the Pro Bowl, you know, I think he's fixed right in that category. And you give me one Super Bowl and he shoots to the top. I mean, you said it yourself. You win a Super Bowl, an NBA championship in a city that's never had one. You know, you can buy your house and live there until you're 75. You're a god forever in the city. And so if he does that, along with those other guys, they'll live forever. And I think he's got the capability to do it. I'm really excited to see what he does this year.
Flags fly forever.
From your mouth to God's ears, man. Look, man, immortality is what you search for in sports. And he's definitely looking for his immortality. He's close, 2 playoff wins last year. We'll leave ice hockey alone. I know
ice
you
soccer.
aren't well versed.
Soccer.
I'll leave you guys out of that. But now let's do this. Let's stay with the A. What are some players that you think that are on this list or that I haven't named? Riley Green is a name that comes to mind. He's 7 home runs already this season. Another name that comes to mind, he's the first person there in number C in Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, that's the guy that I would put up there.
There we go. So you like Gibbs in that spot?
Yeah, I mean, he does it all as a running back. He came in and shared the rock. Montgomery obviously got the majority of the touches, at least for the first third of the season. And you see Jahmyr Gibbs sharing the rock, being one of the top 5, in my opinion, running backs in the league. When this guy,
I agree.
This season, he's going to get the majority of those touches through the whole season, I believe. And I think just his play on the field, how electric he is in the passing game and in the rushing game. He's a guy that I think this year is firmly in the A level and absolutely has the opportunity to ascend to superstar status.
Yeah, 100%. I think when you saw him get into the playoffs, I think he was in his own bag. And I think that's why you see Brad Holmes go after certain players, i.e. Alabama players, i.e. Michigan players. You go after where you know kids, they know that big stage. And I think he knew the stage in the playoffs. Another guy that was drafted last year, Sam Laporta.
Yeah.
Sam Laporta is a guy that could be on the S list.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to get too excited. It's year one.
Yeah.
But you know when you know. Sam Laporta, talk about him. Does he deserve to be higher than B? And could he even be an S?
So I'm going to say Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta right now are B ascending A.
Absolutely.
Only because I need to see it again.
Consistency.
I just need to see the consistency, you know. And I don't know. I think that the way that they shared those carries last year, I think it's going to be eerily similar. I think they don't want to run Jahmyr to the ground. And look, Monty's just built different.
No doubt.
You know, some guys are built to hit 25 carries. Jahmyr, his explosiveness and an ability to do both in the run and the pass, I think they're still going to split. And then by the time we get to the playoffs and he's healthy, you can cut him loose.
Yeah.
Because he's still fresh. But Sam's a beast. And I hate that he got a little dinged up last year, but I'm really excited to see what this offense does this year. I mean, the things that we did on defense to just kind of help stabilize. I give a lot of coach to Aaron Glenn. He did the best that he could, which was 30 minutes from the Super Bowl with what he had. And we just tooled up. So I'm very excited to see what happens there, but to see what the offense does to push it even further, knowing that you're protected a little bit better on the back end.
And to add on to his points, with Jahmyr Gibbs, I think you're right. I think that, you know, when I say majority of the carries, I'm talking 55% instead of the 40-45.
Yep.
And I think that the Lions are smart enough to always supplement him with some other type of power back like they have with Monty. And that is about the only thing that I see holding him back from that superstar level is this a guy that's going to get 325 in a season? I don't think he ever goes over 275, 300 touches. And I think that's a good thing. Now, Laporta, I'm going to go back to the national memorabilia and sports cards thing. People love Laporta.
Yeah.
And not just you saying that this might be the best tight end in the league, but everybody across the country and in the NFL sphere is saying he's up next.
Yeah.
So this is a guy that midway through the season, everybody in the league could be saying, hey, Sam Laporta has supplanted Travis Kelce as the number one tight end in the league. And then at that point, that's a superstar right there.
To get into that category, there's a certain couple things that you look for. Obviously, he's year one, so consistency becomes the first thing that you look for. So he can't have consistency. He's only done 1 year. This is what you look for. When you get opportunities, what do you do with the opportunities? Every time he got an opportunity last year, he showed up and he showed out. Then you look at, okay, in the beginning when people don't know you, once people get film on you, once people know that you're the go-to, once people know that you can make plays, how do you do when people are double coveraging you? When people are scheming for you? Still balled out.
That's right.
When you get into the big game, when you get into the big moment, how are you? Saw a guy come off, come out injured, still scoring touchdowns, still making plays, still breaking tackles, and still being that guy. You start looking at that body of work. It may have been year one, but that's what I'm talking about, where I think he's a guy that you say ascending, I'm saying he's got a foot in that door already because I've seen it enough. I know we're talking about Lions fans to ad nauseum, but hey, look, this is the Detroit Lions city right now. Last player. Then I'll get into Riley Green. Then I'll get into Tarek Skubal. Want to hear what you have to say about Skubal. Brian Branch. Brian Branch is a player that the Detroit Lions were excited about last year. First game of the season against the Kansas City Chiefs, Thursday Night Football. Pick 6 to start the game. To start your career. He got injured and had to fight his way back. But when he was healthy, Brian Branch shows that he's going to be a player for this team. Anson, I'll come to you. Where does Brian Branch belong in this hierarchy of tiers for Detroit players?
That's a good question. I probably would put him in the C tier. I would take Jahmyr and push him up to B, like David said.
Okay.
Kind of in that tweener nickel package spot that he exists in. It's going to be a little bit hard for him to truly ascend, but I think now with the amount of depth that they have in the secondary, it's going to allow them to truly let him have an identity instead of forced into versatility like he was last year. And once he settles into that spot where this is who you are in this defense instead of trying to cover up for all the holes we had in that secondary, I think at that point, I think he can, I don't know if he's going to be a superstar, but he has A written all over him.
Yeah, 100%. There's another guy on this list too that didn't get any credit, any notoriety right now. But the guy with his helmet off in Tier B, if he's not your center, you're not in the playoff.
I didn't even know
And
who
that's
that was
Frank
for a
Ragnow.
second.
That's Frank Ragnow
That's
right
Frank
there, baby.
Ragnow.
That's Big Frank.
You see the love that Jason Kelsey gets with the Philadelphia Eagles. You see how they were as a team with him on that field. You can say the same thing about Frank Ragnow. When he's not on the field, the Lions have lost some games. Like when he's on that field, the Lions are in every game where they should win. Just look at the Saints game. They're up, 28-7 or 28?
21 to zip.
You were at that
21
game.
to zip. Like I
How was the experience being a Lions fan in one of the hardest atmospheres of a road team, and that is the Dome, Superdome?
Of all the road games I did, I will tell you, the New Orleans Saints fans are the closest I saw. Closest I saw the Detroit Lions fans. Their passion equals ours. I'm just gonna say that. Kansas City, Tampa, Green Bay, it was all right. It was glad that we won all those games. But New Orleans, man, 21 to zip when we walked in, and it was just like, okay, I can afford to be a nice, respectful Lions fan. And then they came back and tied the game. And when J-Mo went Superman into the end zone, I lost it. And then Detroit stood up. We were about 60% of that crowd.
Wow.
And these Lions road games, by the way, if you've never done one, this is the time. We were 50% of the crowd all the way up until about the Minnesota Vikings game. And my favorite chant is still everywhere we go, we deep. And that's how it is in Detroit right now.
That's a chant on the road.
That's the chant on the road.
How does it go?
Everywhere we go, we deep. Everywhere we go, we deep.
Wow,
Everywhere we go, we deep.